It's a good test. A very cool and unique thing about firearms is the way in which they connect us to our history. I feel like my love for H&K firearms is strengthened by my family's German descent. The same goes for my friend Alan of Czech descent and his love for CZ firearms. So some of the things that really impressed me about this SP-01 Tactical, first of all, are the magazines. These are very high quality, all steel construction magazines. They hold 19 rounds standard plus 1 in the chamber. So you're looking at 20 rounds standard, and the base plate is not crazy extended like some of the stuff you see on the market now. I think that this might be some of the best capacity on a 9mm handgun with standard capacity magazines. Another thing is just the build quality on this gun. All around, the way that the slide feels, the trigger, everything is really beautifully machined. There is not really any defects or anything like that. When you take this apart and clean it, you can tell that it's a very well made and very well put together firearm. While this is a duty handgun, competition models on this platform do exist, like the Shadow 2 and the Parrot. Because of this being an all steel frame, it has quite a bit of weight and heft to it. This wouldn't be a gun that I would really want to carry around. It also has a very low profile slide that actually has rails on the inside of the frame, allowing it to be very shallow. So your height over bore is very low. Your grip is very high up on the gun. And all these things combined just lend to a very flat shooting and very accurate platform. I'm gonna do a double action for the first pull. That was high. That's nice. Fiber optic on this is really nice.
Oh yeah.
My hands are so sweaty, it's kind of hard to grip. First couple shots were a bit off. It took me a little bit of refamiliarizing myself. The thing I don't love about the SP-01 is you do have to be pretty aggressive with field stripping. It is toolless, but requires the use of the floor plate of a magazine to push this slide release through the other side. So this is my friend Alan, and his first handgun.
This is my CZ75D compact. I chose it because I wanted a gun, and I saw that CZ was Czech, just like where my family's from. So I figured that'd be a good starting point for a gun. Well, a good buddy of mine also carried CZs, and they felt really good to shoot, so I'm like, definitely, this is gonna be my first pistol to go pick up. And since owning it, it's a very low maintenance gun and shoots very reliably. Now, if I could shoot reliably, that'd be better, but the gun does just great.
And it's thanks to Alan that I shot his CZ. It was the first time I had ever shot a CZ before, and I thought surely if a 75D compact can shoot that well, that a 75 full size, like this one right here, which is also known as an SP-01, would shoot way better. So a little time later on the internet and guns.com, I saw this one used for a price that I absolutely couldn't pass up, and it has been a fantastic shooter so far.
Shooting with this gun, I have a lot of recoil anticipation, so I haven't really been able to nail the bullseye too well. Already shooting better than the compact. But man, with these CZs, you gotta be careful of the wall and the brake. I always catch myself. definitely a gun you just gotta get used to. I'm already shooting this one faster and more accurate than I am with the compact. And I've never shot this.
Isn't it hard to not shoot it fast?
And I'm shooting it fast.
You start shooting it and it's like faster, 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 faster.
Well, and look at that.
Oh, would you look at this?
Yeah, well.
Would you look at that?
Yeah, there's a few more blemishes on the car.
Oh my gosh, just look at it.
Now the trigger on this gun is pretty cool. If you were to chamber a round and then decock it, instead of being a full regular pull like a Beretta, USP, anything like that, when you decock the hammer, you can see that the hammer is actually ever so slightly cocked back. It's maybe a quarter of the way back. So this is going to be a much nicer double action pull and a lot lighter than what you're probably used to in a lot of double action, single action guns. You can see after that, the hammer is now all the way down. So that's a unique thing that I personally have only seen on CZs before. Now the single action on this gun is quite nice. It's a relatively light pull, a lot lighter than I'm used to, and the trigger is very crisp, but the break is the thing that's most interesting to me. There's a little bit of a wall and then it kind of has some creep in it, or it's almost like a rolling break, like a revolver. I'm not really sure the best way to phrase that, but when you have it in single action and you come up to that wall, there's just a little bit of creep and then the trigger breaks. At first, I didn't know how I felt about this. I thought it was a bit weird, but as I've trained with this more and more and I've done some dry firing with it, it's now kind of at a point where it's a predictable and accurate trigger for me. Once the gun's cycled, we've had our single action pull, our reset is actually quite a bit long. So the reset in a way reminds me of the P30. Now, a lot of people complain about the HK-P30, say that the trigger's terrible and that it needs a short reset kit and all of that jazz. I've talked about the HK-P30 trigger before, and I've kind of stated about how what you really need is practice on that gun, that the reset is on the long side, and you have to keep in mind that just like the HK-P30, this SP-01 was designed for duty use. So like I said, the build quality on this thing's awesome. It's very accurate, it's very flat shooting, it's very comfortable, it has a nice trigger on it, and reliability has also been 100%. I put hundreds of rounds through this gun, and I've never had a malfunction in this gun. I've never had or seen a malfunction in any of my friends' CZs either.
I just had a misfire.
The only thing that I would really say could be said as a con about this firearm is about the weight. And that's twofold, right? Because the weight contributes to why this gun shoots so flat, why it feels so nice, and just the classic styling of the CZ75. But because of that weight, I would not want to have to carry this thing, and I definitely wouldn't want to have to conceal it either. So it really depends on what you're looking for in a handgun. If this is going to be, let's say, a home defense handgun, or a range toy, or something to practice with, or to compete with, I think it's a great option, or just something very cool to have in your collection. But you hear the same thing said a lot about the Beretta M9 too, that the gun is too big, that it's too heavy, and a lot of people don't want to carry it for that reason. This gun kind of falls into that category, and like the M9, it shoots very well, and I have an M9 and I would say that this shoots a lot better. So it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a shooter, this is definitely that. It's going to be reliable, it's going to be low maintenance, and if you ask me how much this gun costs, I would say that it had to be in like the $1,000, $1,200 price point, because it just has that level of quality. The engineering, everything that's gone into it is just that tier of a handgun. I would put up there with an HK USP and things like that. but these actually MSRP for only $799. And that is for a model with a rail. And on the used market, you might see them as low as like $600. So at that price point, you're getting a ton of bang for your buck. So if you're in the market for a full-size steel frame handgun with great reliability, great capacity, and the weight is not a big concern to you, you should definitely look at the SP-01. And for this price point, I really don't think you're going to find a better option.